Hello everybody, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. Let me take these headphones off because the game has just finished and Arsenal have beaten, they have actually beaten Liverpool 3-2. I'm going to get straight into it and I want you guys to be involved straight away. I'm going to ask you in this stream, man of the match, I'm going to ask you about the penalty decisions, a few of them. But first and foremost, I want your talking points, okay? So we're going to try this again. We tried it earlier. I'm going to reset this. Right now in the chat, go. What are the big talking points from this game? Get it in the chat now. We'll come back to it. If you are new to the channel and you're not watching this live, that means you've missed the live. That's a mistake. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and then you've just got the choice. Easy, okay? Press that button. So much to talk about in this game. Tactically, it was fascinating. It did play out how I thought it might play out in terms of it being that battle of wills. It really was that battle of wills. And hang on. Oh, here we're coming through. We're coming through. Hang on. Here's the talking points. Run. Here we go. Go. Should come through any second, all being well. Yeah, it was going to be a battle of wills, and it certainly was. I was really impressed by what happened in the game, and in particular, the pressure that there was from this Arsenal side in transition. This game was won and lost in transition, in my opinion. But at the same time, there was some woeful defending. Horrific defending. I mean, intrigued to see if this comes through. It didn't work last time, and I really want it to work this time, so let's find out. Let's have a look at the game and the stats first and foremost. What was huge here, of course, were the starting lineups for both teams. It says 4-2-3-1 here again. It wasn't. It's that 4-2-4, and the pressure on the likes of Thiago Alcantara, who has probably done more running in this game than he's ever done in his bloody life, and Jordan Henderson was absolutely outrageous in this one. And it was all about those guys. It was all about that box. It was all about that box throughout the game. I'm gutted that this hasn't bloody worked. Why is that? I'm really sorry. I really want it to work. Reset it again. Because those talking points are so good. Run it. Sorry, guys. Let's see if it can work one last time. I'm going to look away from it now because it's winding me up. Let's go to this box that we were talking about. So, in terms of the way the game was played, it was really important. Jordan Henderson and Thiago Alcantara had to have one hell of a game. And they weren't terrible. And you can see by the passing, right? The amount of passes that Henderson, Thiago, Virgil van Dijk. Actually, initially, it was only Gabriel in the last few minutes of the game that actually kind of stepped in. Before that, it was those four, that box that we're talking about, that was so important in this game. But Arsenal, in transition down the sides, really hurt them. Really hurt them throughout the game. It was one where it's for Liverpool, it was one where they were trying to sort of get in behind, as we've seen before, trying to have bodies higher up the pitch. It's interesting here. Shows how much that Liverpool had to defend, because when they had the ball, if you look at their average touches, it's a lot higher up the pitch. Diogo Jota all over the place getting on the ball. Nunez, as we know, trying to get in behind all the time. So for Liverpool, they were trying to get in behind. And Salah, we've got to talk about Salah as well at some point. Salah is, I wrote down in my notes, Salah's become a decoy. Salah has become a decoy. We're going to get onto Arsenal, by the way. So don't worry about that if you're an Arsenal fan, because something... Is it yet? Am I right? I feel like I might be. But it was, yeah, so it was that 44 against, and it was that battle of wills in midfield. The goals, I think I've got to talk about all these goals, really, haven't I? Because the first one's about transition, more so than it being about Trent's poor defending. And Trent gets taken off at half-time. You could take him off even because he's just playing so badly. And the fact that Arsenal have played a game of football, and Trent, injury or not, and Salah have been taken off. I almost wonder if there was a message to Salah at some point in terms of taking him off, because he put Henderson right midfield by the end of it. It was absolutely unbelievable. But that first goal, was down to the quality in transition, but also the fact that you've got a two in midfield here that are just going to really struggle, right? Bound to struggle in transition. And they did. Odegaard throughout the game in zone 14, which I know we've spoken about a million times, you can see there from his heat map, constantly getting to a more central area than he normally does. And part of that was down to how bloody brilliant Martinelli was. Now, yesterday, it was a toss-up. It was Martinelli and Diaz, and I went with Diaz. These are the kind of games where you go, oh, actually, hang on. Because Trent couldn't handle him. The second goal. Do you know what? The one thing I struggle with this is the fact that Martinelli was brilliant. Martinelli made their life very, very difficult. But at the same time, Trent's defending for the third goal of the game, the second goal, is absolutely mind-blowingly poor. I can't believe how poor it was. I'm honestly blown away with it, because you can't be doing what he's doing, both for the first goal and for the last goal. You have to have more ability to read the game. I'm going to try another poll here. Man of the match. Write it in the chat right now. Who do you want to talk about? We seem to be having a bit of a problem with those talking points, which one day we'll get it right. But let's go back to it, because I'm desperate for this to work, because I want to get you guys involved a little bit more. Write in now who was your man of the match, because I think you've got Martinelli in there. I think what was interesting, I actually think Arteta deserves huge credit in this. You can't really give it to him. Saka, of course, scores 2 goals in this game. He plays really, really high up, which should show you his average positions. In terms of getting the ball, he likes to get in that little half space before. But if you look at his average position, look how high he is. Constant threat. And that made life really, really difficult. Really, really difficult for him. This is bloody shite, isn't it? Trying to get this to come through, and this isn't fucking working. I'm sorry, I'm pissed off. New software that should be working isn't working. Nothing's coming through. You can shut up. Last one we'll have. Quick questions. Last chance. Get them in now. If you've got any questions, we can go through some of these. This is the only thing that seems to work on this software. And it's doing my head in. People saying Partey. People saying Ben White. Do you know what was interesting was this flat back 4 that he went with. I was surprised that he was going to go and do that. But to play Tomiyasu when you got Tierney on the bench, maybe it's an enforced change, but it made Salah completely redundant. And actually, that's the thing I wanted to talk about as well when you talk about Liverpool. And you can't really see it from this, but the way that Liverpool were playing with that box, what happened in the game was it became about control. And if you have a look at the momentum bar here, look at the first half of that game, right? In the first half of this game, yes, obviously Arsenal had that fantastic start, but after that, and it's huge pressure on the likes of Thiago and Henderson, but they did actually control the game. They controlled the game a hell of a lot in that second half. So second half of the first half, absolutely dominated it. And that's the thing with them. It was going to be one where that box needed to control the game. Van Dijk, Matip, Henderson, and Thiago, they had to be pressure-proof. They had to be able to play little balls around the corner and then play those direct balls in behind. And the goal for Nunez, that comes from exactly that. I mean, to a point, it's just Trent with a lucky ball and it's terrible defending from Gabriel. But what you do have there, and that's what kind of kept Liverpool in the game from the start to the finish, was bodies high up the pitch. And that's what I was talking about in the preview, about it being a battle of wills. The reason it was a battle of wills is because if you can hang in the game and control the game like Liverpool did, then you give yourselves a chance, because when you do get the ball higher up the pitch, you've got bodies. The other side of that, of course, is in transition. And constantly, Arsenal were playing in those half spaces when they were getting the ball, and that's where they were getting a hell of a lot of joy. But when you look at that momentum bar, this is the thing where you've got... Look, Trent is in bad form, and defensively, he's not where he needs to be. And that has always been a weakness that he's got, but he doesn't become a terrible player overnight. He doesn't. But the first goal, there's other layers to it, and they're already done in transition. Can he read Martinelli as he's making his way there and read that pass? Maybe he can do a little bit better. Maybe he's a little bit square. Maybe he needs to understand that his focus has to be Martinelli. But I think there's other problems at play there. And when you play into midfield, they're going to have moments where they do that. The second goal is an absolute disgrace of defending. It really is. And as I say, I've backed him. But he's killed himself, and he's killing me. Because he has to stay in position. Henderson is tracking that player. Henderson is a smart defender, and what he will do is, at the very worst, will get to the byline and the cross will come in. And once that cross comes in, that's where Trent should be. People were saying Tsimikas was a big part of the problem here. And I'm going to go to your questions in just a second, by the way, guys, so stick with me. And thanks for sticking with me. I'm sorry about some of the problems. But when Trent then goes and commits, you make Martinelli's mind up for him. And you'll see it, Tsimikas then has to go across to deal with the centre forward that was there. And then all of a sudden you've got Saka at the back post, because that's what Saka's going to do this season. He's going to be there ready and waiting. And Martinelli is always going to cut inside. That's what he likes to do. Let's talk about Arsenal. Because Arsenal deserve huge credit. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable credit. Because to beat Tottenham and to beat Liverpool, these are huge moments. The reason these are huge moments is this is a coming together of the fans, the manager, and the players. There's a very clear understanding, and also a big thing to remember is the age of these two teams. This is a team that sometimes you have to go through the last season, be 23, and then you need to be 24 and know what you're doing. Football is about answers, and Arsenal have answers. Answers off the bench. Answers to get out of trouble, answers to manage a game. And in Gabriel Jesus, just disgusting work rate. Disgusting work rate from him. You can go through the team. Ramsdale makes a decent save at one point. I thought Gabriel had a poor game. I thought Saliba actually, again, this is down to the tactics a little bit, and because Arsenal are winning right now, Saliba won't get any stick for that. But the ball from Jota, which is a great ball, and again, it's about bodies high up the pitch. Saliba's positioning for that is pretty woeful. But Odegaard's so great on the ball. Xhaka, oh my word. He's just something else. It is the perfect role for him. What I'm amazed by is his composure a lot of the time, making great crosses, getting the best out of Martinelli, working in those half spaces, as I've said on this channel numerous times, facilitating. And it's a really good team. And I have said that time and again. Thomas Partey had sort of moments of, I thought, poor on the ball. His accurate passes went up to 90%, but in the first half it was at 80%. So I thought he was pretty poor there. And I thought as a three, defensively, they allowed, and it was partly down to Henderson and Thiago doing quite well, but they allowed those two to control the game. So that's something that they maybe need to work on. But I think they were also pinned back a little bit by that 4 from Liverpool. But this is a young team. As you can see, 24.6 to the 28 years of Liverpool. This is a team that played... And Arteta deserves huge credit. He played a flat back 4 there to deal with those 4. And he read that Klopp was going to do it. Another big call. Another huge call. They're actually, by the end of the game, I think there was 1 fullback on the pitch. Unbelievable stuff. Arteta, this is it. You have to go, is this guy smart? Is this guy hardworking? Does this guy have pedigree? And then if he has bobbles along the way, you let it go. You let it go, because you've got yourself a manager who you can trust, who has ambition, drive, and can be ruthless at times as well. And people laughed at Arteta, and he had to take it in the face. Now, he's doing the opposite of taking it in the face. I don't know what that is. Giving it on to people's faces. Don't say that. Let's answer questions. How did Elliot not get booked for that dive? Totally agree. That was another thing I had on here, but I'm afraid to do it now. Was it a penalty? In the chat, the Gabriel one, I feel like the Jesus one felt soft for me. I don't think I got the best angle of it. I think there's probably contact. But it feels like one where, like, by the letter of the law, you can give that. But by the letter of the law, you could have given the Gabriel one as well. So, first question, Thiago one, was it a penalty? Yes or no? In the chat, go. How did Elliot not get booked? I think don't waste your time on that, because if you're a Liverpool fan, there's bigger problems. If you're an Arsenal fan, it's not worth worrying about, okay? Let's end quick questions. Let's go back to quick questions. Oh, they all disappeared. Oh no, they're all there. Is it just me, or can't Alisson make a save? His saves goal conceded ratio must be terrible. I'll have a look at it and I'll let you know. Is Carvalho invisible on the bench? Possibly. I think there were some messages in that Mo Salah one. I think there was a message there. Now, the Gabriel one. Is the Gabriel one a penalty? There's a lot of yeses, a lot of nos. I would say we've got about 70% yeses on that one. For the Gabriel one, what do you think? Both felt soft, didn't they? Is Carvalho invisible on the bench? I don't think he is. Has it started yet? Yes, it has. Is it working for anyone else? Yes. Stop right there. Have you all hit the like button? Going to be criticising Liverpool. Lazy analysis. I don't think I've done that. But well done for making such a blasé comment. Surely one should only like a video if they've seen a video and like the video. Yeah, fair enough. That's a really good point. Why are Liverpool so bad? Legit answer. I think a team that doesn't have the spirit that they have gets beat much worse than this, especially playing the way they're playing. The problem they have, I think, at this moment in time is that they don't have the answers that they want. I know that sounds really obvious, but when it's not working, you then have to try things. And I think ultimately, they feel jaded. The players are the same players, and individually, they're still incredible players with great leadership and great careers. But I think as a whole team, I did a video on this a long time ago, but when you take one element out, I did it about Liverpool, was when Van Dijk was out. When you have such a well-oiled machine, if you take one cog out, it is going to hurt them. And people don't like the Mane thing, but it's true in my opinion. Mane is a huge, huge loss. And this doesn't mean that Liverpool are rubbish. It means that, at the elite level, you've got to be so good. So if you lose someone like that, whoever you bring in, it will take time to build up that chemistry again. And that's what they're going through right now, in my opinion. Martinelli underrated. I think I have underrated him a little bit. I mean, maybe it's just because of this week or yesterday being on Saturday Social, and I had to pick one of the two, and it was tricky. But Diaz got an assist as well, so he is a good player. I don't think he's underrated. I think he's young, so he's got a lot more to do. Yeah, but interesting question. Combined 11 did that yesterday, didn't we? How good was Joe Gomez? I thought he did all right when he came on defensively. I thought he did okay. And that's a question now. Again, I guess last question for the chat is that there is huge pressure on Trent. You can feel it, which is I find this idea, it's almost, he's so good that now he's fair game to just destroy him. And that's just not the case, right? But he is struggling a little bit. Some of the things I saw on Twitter earlier, I was just like, really? But I had an exchange with someone, and they did make the point of, like, is it one where Trent needs a little break? This is the thing. Why have you got rid of Nico Williams? That is the worst bit of transfer dealing that Liverpool have done in quite some time. The Mane deal, good for the books, kind of had to be done. He wanted to move on. Letting Nico Williams go was a really bad move. Really, really bad move. Are Arsenal winning the league? Are they title contenders? Let's finish on Arsenal because Arsenal deserve it. I think it's one where, like, Liverpool, through mentality alone, might have got themselves out of trouble there. If they'd got that draw, then we'd be speaking differently. But I think the thing you've got to remember here is that this Arsenal team plays really well very regularly. And in terms of Liverpool, it feels like it's at the end of something or the rebuild of something. But for Arsenal, this is a team, and I did it again, guys, check out the video, how Arteta made Arsenal great again. These guys aren't going anywhere. This Arsenal team are here to say something is happening here. And again, when it comes to success, they are currently top of the table. I think what's more important here, and at the end of the season, what's more important here in terms of the success of Arsenal is not if they finish first or second or third, or first or second, let's say, because we know how good Man City are, and you expect them to fly away with it, right? At some stage, because Arsenal will have that dip, you would imagine, because we haven't seen them be brilliant, right? But Arsenal are currently 14 points clear of Liverpool. That's unbelievable. And we have to trust the eye test sometimes. Stats will help back things up, but the eye test shows that this is a team that has incredible body language, incredible spirit, incredible work rate, has a leader that has empowered them. I like the age range of them as well. I like the fact that they all have the hunger to go and do something. They have a point to prove. They have leaders in there. In Xhaka, Gabriel Jesus is a leader in that team now. And they've got a point to prove. And they're really good. And they've got a system in place that is really impressive. Really, 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 really impressive. Huge day for Arsenal. Huge. And for Liverpool, there's some real problems here. But it's one where, again, I think there's two ways of solving this. Do you go to like a 3-4-3, which someone said in the live the other day, which I think is actually quite a good point the more I look at it? Or do you move towards kind of not reverting back to type, or just hang in there, get back to having Fabinho and Thiago and Henderson back in that midfield, and then things will calm down once again. I think it'll be a mix of both. I think he'll keep trying different things. I think what will be interesting is the pressure that will come, and I think it will be faux pressure, because the bottom line is, if Klopp's got the energy, the answer is always Klopp. He will figure it out. He's one of the greatest managers. But teams come to the end of a cycle, and this might be that time. Devon Carr, James, you're my favourite individual football-based YouTube channel, but that Flav guy is suspect. Fair. We love Flav. Get out. One week ban for you. And Maestro, my guy, always here. Trent and Salah aren't horrific, but they are becoming a detriment to Liverpool's team and season. They have to change things, by which I mean them. Trent has to be able to read the game better. He has to. Defensively, has to. Is it time for him to be in midfield? I'll leave that one out there. Is it time for him to be a midfielder now? You obviously can't do that because you don't have another right back. Let me know how you're feeling about this, Liverpool fans. Let me know how you're feeling about this, Arsenal fans. And if you have enjoyed this video, hit the like button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next live that we do. I'm going to be doing more Liverpool games this week. I'm going to Rangers-Liverpool. More on that very soon. And the fallout will be here tomorrow, so make sure you don't miss out on that as well. Thanks for watching.